How about a team that has absolutely no hope and is abysmal and everything is devastating, looking bad? The Chicago Bears, dude. Bears, this was kind of expected, but they got rid of their offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron, fired him this week after they lost once again. This was expected, but I'm curious to get your thoughts on this. Caleb Williams has been on a slide. And is this fair? Is this the correct move, or is this a scapegoat move by the Bears?
This is a scapegoat. Actually, no. Look, I don't think Waldron's offense really performed out well. He was coming from Seattle the year prior. He was brought in to help bring Caleb Williams into the NFL, shape him, mold him, get him prepared for everything for this season. Ultimately, that didn't come to fruition. And there was a clip out there of Jackson Smith and Njigba, who, when asked about the Bears just took this offensive coordinator from you guys, Jackson Smith was just like, is this live?
This is live.
So he didn't have a clear answer for this was a great hire by them. I'm sad that they stole our dude kind of thing. So that was damning in and of itself. It ultimately came to fruition here with how Caleb has been performing so far. I mean, we're 10 games in, they're 4-6, I believe. And it's hilarious because I bring this up again. He texted the punter, I believe it was Tory Taylor, the same night he was drafted and said, "You're not going to be punting that much." Well, Tory Taylor has more punting yards this year than Caleb Williams has passing yards. He's punted 45 times. And then secondarily, what's crazy is it's like people point to, the Bears have a really bad offensive line, and that's the reason why Caleb's not performing well. It's like, that's part of the equation. But also, if you look at the stats, right, the Bears have the most sacks. I think it's 27 sacks of plays that go longer than 4 or more seconds, right? So that means that Caleb is back there and doing whatever he does or whatever he did in college and creating havoc for those offensive linemen to where they cannot perform in the same way. When you get a quarterback that's just running around with his head cut off, right, seemingly, or just trying to avoid people, or not knowing where to go and trying to create something because there's indecision, that creates havoc for the offensive lineman. So it's a multitude of factors here. And his accuracy just decreases, Caleb's does, when he's outside of the pocket and doing all that stuff. So it's very different than, say, Lamar, when I was just talking about how he can extend a play wildly, because his accuracy is just increasing and improving each year he does this. This is a dumpster fire and a half in Chicago. I think they scapegoated the guy. Ultimately, it's Eberflus, and that organization is just a debacle through and through.
Fun fact, Caleb Williams has been sacked the 5th most times for any player in NFL history through 10 games. So
still breaking records.
He is a record-setting rookie quarterback. This is interesting. A lot of blame. This is kind of possibly could be a scapegoat situation with the OC getting fired. I mean, they're having Thomas Brown be promoted to the OC, who is currently the passing game coordinator. Well, the passing game is not working with the Bears. So you're going to promote the passing game coordinator to offensive coordinator. I don't really love that. I know you oftentimes are promoting internally or always promoting internally when this kind of stuff happens in season. But the passing game has been a massive problem. And man, I mean, I'm just watching some clips of Caleb and I've been watching some offensive linemen break down, offensive lineman podcasts where they break down the pocket and what's going on here. And Caleb not stepping up well, not having a good sense in the pocket, opportunities here where you can step up and they're actually having a clean pocket and he's just not doing it, or he just flushes himself out. So it's very much like he's falling back to his college habits, stuff that did work in college, of course. And that's why we were so excited about him, because we see those flashes, but it just does not translate 1-to-1 to the NFL. Dude, why does this always happen with the Bears?
It's organizational issues. I mean, again, I'll speak to the Browns. It's very clear we've had 2 decades straight of just dumpster fire times 2. Dumpster fire times 2. This is dumpster fire 1.5 here for Chicago. I don't understand why they can't recognize where their faults are and look themselves in the mirror and understand, hey, we may be the problem, right? The front office individuals. Some people could say like, oh, this is the Hard Knocks curse, right? Anybody who goes on preseason Hard Knocks or Hard Knocks at all ultimately has a setback in their year as in the lead up to it.
It's always a sign of a good organization that when they're questioned about the performance, they blame a curse. We're cursed. The Hard Knocks curse. It wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
It's voodoo.
No.
Anyway, next question.
Well, it's obviously the curse.
The curse.
We are burdened by a 100-year curse. Apparently, players in the locker room were pushing for Caleb to be benched before firing Shane Waldron. So this is coming out. There's been reports about this. They wanted the undrafted free agent Tyson Bagent, or Bajent, however you pronounce his name. How do you say it?
Bajent. You've been in Europe too long.
Thanks. I didn't study it.
You've been adding emphasis on wrong letters.
I've been in Europe too long, so I went with like the European pronunciation. I'm so sorry for my lack of culture. Apologize. But I mean, this is also a terrible, terrible sign here. I feel bad for Caleb. I mean, because you people talk about there's a theory out there called the Mahomes to the Bears theory, where like even if Patrick Mahomes got drafted by the Bears and went to the Bears, his career would look wildly different. He would possibly be running into some of these same exact issues that Caleb Williams is. I mean, no one would argue against the fact that Caleb Williams is an incredible talent. A lot of people call him a generational talent, but when you're in an organization like this that doesn't really support a young quarterback like this, and there's a bunch of older quarterbacks talking about this, and we talked about this on the show a few times of how the NFL is so impatient with young quarterbacks right now, and the expectations are just so high so quickly. You're putting a lot of them, especially ones who go to kind of lackluster organizations, you're putting them in position to fail. And I mean, it's honestly sad to see, because that's just going to cripple their confidence, something that will take years to recover if it ever does recover. I mean, we saw a couple quarterbacks kind of come out of that, like with Baker this year, but that's something that I really worry about for a guy like Caleb Williams, man.